This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday, the 28th of January 2015. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of Informer News. In this, my final weekly video, the Large Hadron Collider and the three distinctive extinction events this powerful scientific experiment could cause. Plus, was Charlie Hebdo a false flag attack ordered by the Zionists? Also, NIBIRU causes magnetic sickness, many people reporting suffering from strange illnesses such as vertigo, dizziness and nausea. And was President Reagan trying to warn us all about the return of NIBIRU when he made his powerful speech in front of the United Nations back in 1987? Okay, into this week's news. This first report originates from CERNtruth.wordpress.com. Three distinctive life extinction events that the Large Hadron Collider, a quark cannon that throws bullets of the densest, most explosive material of the universe, quark condensates, can cause once it is put online at double potency in spring of 2015. Over the 10 TeV barrier of creation of dark matter, the theoretical minimal energy of formation of a bag of stranglets and micro black holes. Creation of baby black holes that do not evaporate, either as top quark condensates, Einstein's famous frozen stars, or string stars with higher dimensionality. This risk has been overblown by media, since it is less likely, and black hole theory has still a mythic, speculative side that allows them to divert attention from the truly well-proved scientific catastrophe. Creation of stranglets, lumps of strange quarks show up, be very common in the universe, as all pulsars seem to be frozen. Strange quark stars, this risk is absolute, meaning that according to the totalitarian principle of physics, all particles that can theoretically happen will happen, and strange quark matter will theoretically happen. Since the LHC is merely beyond speculative theories, a quark cannon which produces mass quantities of strange quarks at high energy regimes. Now, a stranglet is nothing strange, it is merely a lump of strange quarks, and we know those lumps of strange quarks once formed devour our lighter, simpler up and down quarks. And as it happens, the LHC is just a quark cannon that produces lumps of strange quarks, stranglets. The LHC is a cylindrical, never-ending cannon barrel that accelerates lead-iron bullets every cycle. The heaviest non-radioactive atom with more quarks, with two purposes: to increase the mass of those quarks, transforming them into strange quarks, and then collide them to make stranglets, strange quark condensates. The LHC is just a factory of stranglets, and so when it goes online at full potency, will just mass produce stranglets. Thus, stranglets will be made at CERN between 2015 and 2020 on collisions over 10 TeV. Then those stranglets will fall to the center of the Earth undetected, which will excuse CERN from responsibility, as it will deny it produced them till the end. And it will eat up the Earth inside out till it converts it into a 15-kilometer stranglet rock. Finally, the magnetic field of the LHC, the strongest on planet Earth, which causes disturbances on the Earth's magnetic field, cause of earthquakes that have increased to record numbers. similar to those of the Second World War during the carpet bombing of the Pacific seismic ring of fire, since the machine was put online in a continuous growth that made April 2014 the all-time record for this month. Any of those three scenarios should have deterred CERN physicists and its political backers from upgrading the machine to double potency in 2015. But physicists and the press consider the issue closed and prefer wishful thinking to ethic and social responsibility. This following news report was posted on Veterans Today on January the 8th, 2015, titled Charlie Hebdo False Flag Story Goes Viral by Kevin Barrett, Veterans Today editor. False Flag Weekly News just finished a special report on the Charlie Hebdo spectacular in Paris. It took me about 5 minutes to figure out that the Charlie Hebdo shooting in Paris was probably a false flag, so I whipped out a quick blog entry that went viral. Almost 15,000 reads in 24 hours. E.T. Voila. Paris Charlie Hebdo attack, another Zionist false flag. Just 1 month ago, France set off a stampede when its lower house voted to recognize Palestine. Now Palestine is in the suddenly Islamic terror strikes France. Is Paris being punished for its pro-Palestinian votes? In late 2013, Malaysia's Kuala Lumpur tribunal found Israel guilty of genocide. A few months later, Malaysian planes started falling out of the sky. In 2011, Norway's Labour Party youth wing was poised to impose a complete blockade on Israel. Suddenly, the entire leadership of the party youth wing was slaughtered in a professional operation falsely attributed to a lone nut, Anders Breivik. This next report originates from Zeta Talks newsletter, issue 431, and this was posted on Sunday, January the 4th, 2015, titled Magnetic Sickness. On the popular Godlike Productions message board in early January of 2007, there was a thread discussing odd symptoms many had been having: vertigo, dizziness, nausea, and more frequent and painful periods. These symptoms had come on suddenly, in waves now and then, all during the same time period, and from around the world. Medical exam proved nothing amiss with the complainants. This is documented in issue 8 of this newsletter and was confirmed at that time by the Zetas to be magnetic sickness caused at base by the electromagnetically charged tail of Planet X wafting the Earth. I had casually mentioned to a couple other co-workers that I had felt like I was going to pass out, and they both said they had felt the same way. They described the same sensation I had experienced as more of a woozy or faint pass-out feeling than dizzy. I'm an archaeologist and I'm working in a remote place in the middle of Argentina. I had to stop doing my research because I've been feeling exactly as you described. I went to the hospital, but nobody knew anything. I stayed with my mother-in-law for a few days after Christmas. She lives by the sea in Wales. We all had the woolies whilst we were there. Just recently, a friend of mine started experiencing vertigo. She went to the doctors thinking it was an ear infection. Nope, nada. We went to the movies and she got dizzy going up the stairs. I actually went to the hospital for this about 2 weeks ago. I basically felt as if I was off balance, that I was walking around drunk. That's how off balance I was. When I went to the hospital, they had no clue what it was. They took blood and then checked my brain. Nothing. Zeta Talk confirmation, the 6th of the 1st, 2007. Add to the effects of the tail elements filtering through the atmosphere the magnetic swings. It is more than magnetic particles that are affected. When the swings are violent, as they have become, humans or animals living under high voltage lines get cancer at a higher rate than otherwise, as well as other illnesses. These matters will not go away, but will increase up to the pole shift, when relief will at least be at hand. Zeta Talk confirmation, the 16th of the 10th, 2010. Why would the rolling core of the Earth, the magnetic swings and elements in the tail of Planet X be playing havoc? It was noted in late 2007 that a sudden dizziness in men and women alike was occurring mysteriously around the world. Of course, the magnetic woozes did not go away. I, Nancy, on occasions get a magnetic wallop, suddenly unbalanced, or dizziness that feels like someone shoved me sideways, and always mid-morning when Planet X is overhead, ahead of the sun. If I have an episode, there are usually others around the world reporting the same to me. A tail waft affects the entire globe, but the worst case of the woozes appears to be in Sleepy Hollow in Kakistan. To view the full transcript, go to my website endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. This following report originates from somethingblue.hubpages.com, titled Nibiru, Planet X, Aliens and Pole Shift, are linked by Cover Up. Reagan UN speech by Something Blue. When Ronald Reagan made his now famous speech to the UN in 1987 on the possibility of a threat from space, was he referring to an alien invasion or something else entirely? Although he certainly mentions the word aliens, he also mentions the phrase universal threat and another planet in the same sentence. In this article, Nibiru, Planet X, Aliens and Pole Shift are linked by Cover Up. The author will attempt to show how both subjects are invariably linked with a conspiracy of silence. While talking to students at Falston High School in Maryland on December the 4th, 1985, he disclosed that some of what he discussed with the then General Secretary Gorbachev in Geneva. How easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries. Reagan actually mentioned this threat from space in 3 separate speeches, and there are persistent rumors that in the interest of national security, the cover-up of Nibiru Planet X actually began soon after the front page articles in the Washington Post and New York Times declaring NASA had discovered Nibiru Planet X on the fringes of our solar system back in 1983 using the IRAS telescope. In our obsession with antagonism of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. Speech to the United Nations General Assembly, the 42nd General Assembly. Understandably so, portraying a threat from space that could potentially wipe out most of humanity back in 1983 would have had far-reaching repercussions on our global society as a whole. The fact that some world leaders tried to warn us of this threat is undeniable. Reagan goes on to re-emphasize the phase alien threat, which does not preclude the possibility that he was subtly planting the seed of a planetary body and not an alien invasion scenario. I occasionally think, continues Reagan, how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world, and yet I ask, is not an alien force already among us? I am often asked what I think will happen once full disclosure on the threat from space does take place, and unfortunately, due to cognitive dissonance and decades of conditioning, I suspect the majority of mankind will choose not to believe the information. Consider how many people choose not to put much credence in global warming and now current theme of climate change, and you will have a better understanding on how humanity will receive information on a polar shift. Even now, with the hundreds of videos showing a second sun, information on rogue planets which NASA now admits are real, and the increasing tectonic plate movements, one can see how mankind is in a state of denial. Denial is considered by social psychologists as the most basic of all human emotions, in which the powers that be are all too aware of and in fact are counting on to keep the cover-up of silence intact. Gorbachev later confirms Reagan's remarks by mentioning them in a speech to the Central Committee of the USSR's Communist Party in February of 1987. At our meeting in Geneva, the US President said that if the Earth faced an invasion by extraterrestrials, the United States and the Soviet Union would join forces to repel such an invasion. I shall not dispute this hypothesis, though I think it is early yet to worry about such an intrusion. Back then, NIBIRU Planet X was still on the fringes of our solar system and still 20 years away from causing any real physical alterations to our planet. Although the powers that be certainly knew of its potential, the public as a whole did not comprehend the true nature of this planet. At that time, few people had read Zecharia Sitchin's 1976 The 12 Planets or heard of Velikovsky's 1950 Worlds in Collision, banned in the USA. Both books that clearly define the existence of NIBIRU Planet X. One must remember that the Lowell Observatory was established and built in Flagstaff, AZ in the early 1900s specifically to look for this rogue planet, so the powers that be knew of its existence for almost 100 years. We as a species have had the knowledge available to us for almost a century and yet have remained mired in denial. This stagnant belief system, whether through conditioning or not, has prevented mankind from recognizing the true nature of our existence and our place in the universe. I submit to you that Reagan's warnings were not just about alien life and an attempt to subtly disclose it to the world, but also about the known threat from space of NIBIRU Planet X. Because the public did not put much credence in his words, perhaps it was decided that in the interest of national security that mankind simply was not ready to accept this information, and the subject was covered up. Certainly the years between 1983, when this rogue planet made the front pages of two prominent newspapers, and the year 2003, when Nibiru Planet X entered our solar system, not much was mentioned about it. However, many attempts were made during those years to bring the subject to the public light, such as the press conference Dr. Harrington, the chief astronomer of the US Naval Observatory, had scheduled in 1991 before his rapid onset of cancer, preventing his research from being shared with the world. 5 years later, 1997, the tragic death of Gene Shoemaker of the Shoemaker-Levy 9 Comet fame, the result of a mysterious head-on collision on a remote road in Australia, prevented the world of learning of his recent research many believe would have revealed the presence of Nibiru Planet X. Is it a coincidence that both well-known astronomers died while doing research in Australia, as Nibiru Planet X could only be observed in the southern hemisphere due to its elliptical orbit of our Sun? What must be considered is why so many UFO sightings are being reported in this time worldwide. Is it simply because we have entered the electronic age where communication travels quicker, or is due to the fact that humanity is at a turning point in our evolution as a species? Our crop circles warnings by benevolent aliens intent on subtly conditioning mankind to the alien presence on Earth. Are UFO sighting warnings of impending geological disasters in that region of the Earth? To view the full transcript, go to my website endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. And finally, a special thank you to all my many subscribers and viewers that have been supporting all I've been trying to do by reporting the facts regarding the coming return of the Harbinger of Doom, Planet X Nibiru. I'd like to wish you all the best in your efforts to survive this approaching doomsday event, and good luck to you all. This, as you will know, is my final weekly video. But the good news is, thanks to my many supporters asking me to put out specials, I will be doing so from time to time. So please stay subscribed and you will be notified when one of these special broadcasts is aired on YouTube. Okay, my friends, you're all invited to join this channel by subscribing to Endtimes23, which is a totally free subscription service. You're also invited to add me as a friend on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. If you'd like to drop me a line on my blog, by all means do so. Or if you'd like to join one of my circles on Google+, the links are under this video. All this week's news links can be found on my website, endtimes23.com. There's a live link near the end of this video. Well, that's your lot, my friends. I do hope you've enjoyed this show, and until next time, this is your informer signing off. Friends, I'll see you on the flip side. WordPress.com. three distinctive life extinction events that the Large Hadron Collider, a quark cannon that throws bullets of the densest, most explosive material of the universe, quark condensates, can cause once it is put online at double potency in spring of 2015. Over the 10 TeV barrier of creation of dark matter, the theoretical minimal energy of formation of a bag of stranglets and micro black holes. Creation of baby black holes frozen. Strange quark stars. This risk is absolute, meaning that according to the totalitarian principle of physics, all particles that can theoretically happen will happen, and strange quark matter will theoretically happen. Since the LHC is merely beyond speculative theories, a quark cannon which produces mass quantities of strange quarks at high energy regimes. Now, a stranglelet is nothing strange, it is merely a lump of strange quarks, and we know those lumps This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday, the 28th of January 2015. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of Informer News. In this, my final weekly video, the Large Hadron Collider and the three distinctive extinction events this powerful scientific experiment could cause. Plus, was Charlie Hebdo a false flag attack ordered by the Zionists? Also, NIBIRU causes magnetic sickness. Many people reporting suffering from strange illnesses such as vertigo, dizziness and nausea. And was President Reagan trying to warn us all about the return of NIBIRU when he made his powerful speech in front of the United Nations back in 1987? Okay, into this week's news. This first report originates from CERN that do not evaporate, either as top quark condensates, Einstein's famous frozen stars, or string stars with higher dimensionality. This risk has been overblown by media, since it is less likely, and black hole theory has still a mythic, speculative side that allows them to divert attention from the truly well-proved scientific catastrophe. Creation of stranglets, lumps of strange quarks show up, be very common in the universe, as all pulsars seem to be frozen